Hey guys, Miss Chester here with your week 3 learning update for BC First Peoples 12. This week I am going to talk to you about a couple different things. We're going to talk about weekly check-ins, outstanding work, discussion questions, and then the new independent projects. But first I want to talk to you about weekly check-ins. I've still been getting about 6-7 of you signing up. Last week I got some late signups, so I think I was up to 10 people, which is amazing. So for those of you who are signing up, please keep signing up for those check-ins. It's a really good opportunity for a few different things. For starters, I miss you guys, and I want to chat with you, and I want to hear your voices. Second thing, it's great for me to remind you of what you need to be working on, what you're missing, where we're going next, to answer any questions that you have. These are awkward times, and I know that for some of you, learning outside of the classroom without having a teacher there beside you is really challenging. And so those check-ins are an opportunity for me to get in touch with you guys and give you a little bit more one-on-one, which is what I really like. So don't forget to sign up for those check-ins. And I'm going to show you, for those of you who still may not have gone on, where you can find the sign up for the weekly check-ins. So as always, we need to go on to Scalantis. So start.sd69.bc.ca. My computer's angry with me today. I've been doing a lot on here, so it's slowing down. And then we're going to go into our Scalantis homepage, which is BC First Peoples 12. And then if you scroll down, you see the weekly check-in sign up. Again, our check-ins are always on Mondays. Some people have signed up for weekly check-ins same time each week, which I think is really smart. Just make sure you're remembering those check-ins. I've actually had not quite a few, maybe one or two, quite a few is an exaggeration, who have forgotten their check-in times. So when I call, they're not ready or available. So please make sure that you are doing that. So you just go on. This upcoming week is April 27th is the Monday. So just make sure that you are signing up in a time slot for me to give you a call. Okay, so that's it for check-ins. The second thing that I want to talk to you guys about is outstanding work. We're getting to the point now where you have had 3 whole weeks just about to get caught up on missing assignments, not including the time that we had. You had spring break, and then you had a week and a half after spring break, and then we got back to it. So you do need to get caught up on outstanding work from before spring break. That's anything up to and including the inquiry project. Remember, the inquiry project was assigned before spring break, and we worked on it every week. We actually worked on it quite a bit. So by the time spring break came along, actually all that was left was to just take your research, put it all together into a final presentation. And so I am expecting those to start coming in. I did say, for those of you that I talked to on the weekend and last week, and my inquiry project video, I would like to start seeing them come in on the 27th. So yeah, I need to start getting them. We got to move on. I only have one complete inquiry project in so far. That is the inquiry final presentation and the thought book. Please, 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 guys, do not forget about the thought book. I've had to send a couple of inquiry projects back because I didn't get a thought book with them. The thought book is the most important part out of the 50 marks. It's 30 of those marks. It shows me the inquiry process, which is always going to be more important than the final product. And so that's showing me your ability to come up with a critical question, to research, to analyze your research, collect data, and then design a process to demonstrate what you've learned. But again, the thought book is the most important part, so please don't forget it. And if I have sent your inquiry project back to you, please do get that thought book into me with your final presentation. So yeah, outstanding work up to and including the inquiry project. I need to start getting it in. You do have to have all that work complete to be successful in the course. The next thing I want to remind you guys about is the weekly discussion questions. I've been posting discussion questions in the discussion forum. I post one question a week. It usually involves you reading some articles or watching a YouTube video or a little bit of both, and then writing a response. It's usually one, maybe two paragraphs, and it's all different topics related to the course, and it will be moving forward as well. I have the same group of people who have pretty consistently been responding to those, and that's awesome. But there's also a pretty large chunk of you that aren't responding to them. And I want to remind you that this does contribute to this body of work that I use to assess where you're at with a course at the end of the semester. So you do need to be engaging in what I'm putting out there. So that's work from before spring break, getting caught up, and then anything moving forward, and that includes the discussion questions. I'm treating the discussion questions almost like your learning journal. Your learning journal was an assessment piece. Obviously, I don't have your learning journals. So these discussion questions are really important because they help me see your ability to take in information and reflect on it, and to demonstrate your understanding of that information. So it's super important that you are responding to those discussion questions. I'll show you where those are for anybody who's not sure. So just like you go to the top and you can go to assignments, you can also see, just go to the discussion tab. Week 1 was just a little check-in. How are you doing? How is COVID-19 impacting your life right now? And then the second one was about the Wet'suwet'en pipeline protests that were really headline news before all of this COVID stuff started to happen. We talked a little bit about it with Miss Carmen, but it kind of got put on hold. So I wanted you to have the opportunity to suss that out a little bit, and also for your peers to see your responses. I think that's really important. Continuing providing you guys with a forum to interact with each other. And if you're not commenting, at least you're able to read some of the responses that your peers are putting out there. So again, please do engage in those discussion questions. It's super simple. You just click. This one looks really long because I gave you a bunch of different sources. You don't have to use all these. And then you just write a paragraph. We write 2 paragraphs to this one. So you summarize the issue and then you state your opinion. And I've got some really good responses so far. You guys did a really good job with that. But yeah, if you haven't done that, please do. Okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about is independent projects for the big ideas. There's 4 big ideas in the course. And we've kind of touched on 2 of them already, but we are going to touch on the other 2 to start and then loop back and do a little bit more about the first 2 later on. My plan originally was to assign you, I was going to hand out all of the big idea projects and let you kind of pick and choose which one you want to work on when. But the feedback that I'm getting from some of you and what I'm observing mean what I'm seeing in work not being turned in and people not engaging, is that maybe you need a little bit more structure. And that means starting to think about adding in some deadlines. Again, the work that I'm collecting from you now does go towards my ability to give you a final grade. So I think that for right now, I'm going to give you a little bit more structure. So that being said, I'm going to assign one big project every 2 weeks. So I'm going to put out a big idea project, and the deadline that I would like you to meet is 2 weeks. So this first project, it's thinking about how contact and colonialism has impacted First Peoples in Canada in many different ways: economic, social, political, past and present. So even today, and we're going to do that looking at the Indian Act. Some of you might know what the Indian Act is, some of you might not. And so I'm assigning that officially on the 27th. So if you're watching this on Monday today, and I would like that back 2 weeks from now. So I think that puts us, let me see, I wrote it down there, I'm pretty sure. That puts us into May. Yeah, so it puts us at May 11th. So by May 11th, I would like that project back from you. And again, this is going to, for some of you who are finished up your inquiry projects, you're like, whatever, I'm done. But for the rest of you who maybe still have some work to do, it's crunch time. Okay. And I hope this motivates you a little bit. I don't want to pressure you guys, but again, there's a fine line between too much and then not enough. And I think right now, some of you are taking me not setting deadlines as, oh, we don't have to do BC First Peoples. You do, especially the stuff from before spring break. So, yeah, I want to show you where to access the stuff for the first big project, and then I'll let you go. So if I go into assignments here, the top of my page on our home page, it's going to take me to the discussion questions. I do keep track of those. Again, I will be posting a new one for week 3. But then you're going to click on Big Idea Independent Project number 1. And again, it focuses on the Indian Act. There's a couple different steps to this project. So it gives you a little bit of an abstract, and then it gives you the steps. So first, I posted a little video about me talking about the Indian Act, why it's significant, and why we're learning about it. And then there's a podcast that I'd like you to listen to. I actually use this podcast when I teach about the Indian Act. And I find it really informative and helpful. There's also a PowerPoint that goes along with the podcast that I've linked below. And for those of you who maybe need to see things and not just hear them, you can actually click through the PowerPoint as you listen to the podcast. And it kind of has a lot of the same information, so it might help you follow along. That's how I do it when I teach it as a unit in class. There's also guiding questions that you need to answer that go along with the podcast. So as you listen, you're looking for that key information to answer those questions. And those questions will help you with your final project for this project or unit. And you've got 2 options, and I'm always going to give you 2 options for these independent projects. So the first project is to write an essay. I always have my BC First Peoples class write an essay about the Indian Act, so it's pretty standard. You can also choose to create a visual timeline. I won't go too far into either of these options because I do outline them pretty significantly in that first video there, right up at the top in step 1. But again, there are 2 options. They'll take you the same amount of time for each, so don't think that like one's easier than the other. It's not. And then just a quick what you need to hand in. So I need your podcast questions, and then whichever project you choose to complete. The last thing I want to say about that is all the materials you need are underneath that assignment outline. So the slides that I promised you that go along with the podcast are here. Again, I highly recommend you listen to the podcast and go through the slides if you need to at the same time. And then the podcast questions are down here. You need to answer those. You can print these out, do them by hand, and then take a picture and upload, or you can just answer them on a Google Doc. And then there's an outline for the timeline project with all the steps that you have to follow. And then there is an outline for the essay. I know essay kind of might be a big, scary topic to some of you, but I outline it pretty basically. I literally give you a thesis, and then I give you an organizer that you fill out. Well, here I give you exactly what I need to see in each paragraph, but then there's an organizer that you go through point form, and if you do that, the essay basically writes itself. So again, that's all in independent projects number 1, which you find in your assignments here. April 27th, it's being assigned. May 11th, it is due. Okay, so let's recap that really quickly, and then I'll let you go. Weekly check-ins on Mondays. Please do sign up on that Google Doc. Please get your outstanding work in as quickly as you possibly can. I know for some of you, you're working or you're caring for siblings, and I totally understand. I'm sympathetic. But do what you can. An hour or 2 on Mondays can go a long way if you stay pretty consistent. The discussion questions on Scalantis, please answer those. And then check out our first independent project. This is actually a unit of mine that I'm really passionate about and I really enjoy teaching. So I'm sad that you guys won't get to do that in class with me. But I hope that if you have any questions at all, that you don't hesitate to email, or if you just want to chat about some of this stuff, send me an email and I can give you a call. That's it for me, guys. Week 3 update. I will hopefully talk to you all on Monday. Take care.